Hello and good morning, everyone. I'm your new manager here. Okay, sit down, please. Okay, before I start, as your manager, I want to know openly how you feel about our teamwork first.
In my experience, I think it's more appropriate for the leader to decide the direction first. As a team member, we usually follow the leader decision to maintain harmony.
Yes, I agree. I prefer to wait for clear instruction before starting my work. Speaking up too early might be seen as challenging authority. From an organizational point of view, our responsibility is to execute decision efficiently. Loyalty and obedience help the team move faster.
I know, but as a manager, I want to more interact with you to make sure this program is more successful in future.
But honestly, this way of working is very smooth. Everyone agrees and there is no conflict. And the meeting is very short. Similar thinking makes teamwork easier.
Oh, I see.
Guys, I have a few questions to ask you guys. Do you guys feel that we have used your potentials?
Yes, I do have ideas, but I usually keep them to myself. I'm afraid of creating conflict or being seen as disloyal.
Same here. In high-power distance culture, questioning leader can feel uncomfortable, even wrong. I was taught to quick members follows instruction. Giving too much feedback feels unnecessary.
This is how group test begins. When everyone avoids disagreement, innovation will suffer.
Because I look at our job, it's repeatedly idea, and not get no progress about it.
But we all work in harmony and comfortable. No argument, no conflict, and everyone support the plan.
Yes, you are right. Harmony is very valuable, but the monoculture team have really struggled to adapt with their new surroundings. So the result also shows that diversity can also improve problem, but when we manage it very well.
So you mean our problem is effort, perspective?
Exactly. The cultural community has very comfortable among employees, but it can limit the creativity and also learning for them.
What we are facing is common in cross-cultural teams. Cultural values like collectivism and power distance strongly shape behavior.
I offered them to discuss with me, but they don't have come to me to discuss with it. They mean it's my fault?
In collectivity culture, people prioritize group harmony over personal expression. In power distance context, leaders are not easily questioned.
Okay, that means you think a push my leadership will be ineffective?
Yes, instead, it should be a hybrid culture that blends with local values and organizational goals.
What a practical step may I take?
First, create a shared mental model so everyone clearly understands roles and goals. Second, use indirect communication tools such as feedback or small group discussion. Third, design a reward system based on distributive justice aligned with local expectations.
That makes sense. Respect, participate, and local law. Amy, can you arrange meeting for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Based on it, in today, I want to make sure we do a work in small team and we will rotate it to make sure all we organize and make sure it's done. Okay, if anything want to feedback or anything to ask me, you can meet me or message me personally.
Okay, we agree with this. This makes me feel safer. I can share my ideas without feeling that I'm harming the group.
I appreciate that hierarchy is still respected. This balance makes participation more comfortable. I now see that giving feedback does not mean disloyalty. It can strengthen the team.
I also realized that work in monocultures is feel more comfortable and easy, but it limits our growth and adaptability.
When we manage diversity well, it also improves innovation rather than creating another conflict.
Ni satu, ni tiga, ni lapan, dua, tujuh, lapan, dua, tu. That's all. This experience tells me leadership is not about sympathy. Group cohesion is about forcing one style but understand difference. Culture difference are not aspects to be avoided. There are strategic resources that, when managed through a hybrid culture, can create trust, cohesion, and team performance.
Good day to Professor Yusiza and everyone. Today, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Yusiza for the continuous guidance and insightful feedback throughout this course. Your teaching approach had greatly enhanced our understanding of group dynamics and cultural perspective, which inspired this reflection. I will now briefly discuss about our case study, which is cultural context and group dynamics. Now, let's move to the first part of our discussion. Think about your experience of working in a group. How do you think your cultural background impacts your experience of working in a group? Based on my experience of working in a group, I do agree that my cultural background impacts my experience of working in a group, especially by the collective identification and collectivist culture. So, what is collectivist culture? For me, collectivist culture means placing the group before the individual, instead of focusing on what I want or what benefits me personally. I tend to think about what's best for the group as a whole. In a collectivist culture, people often define themselves through their relationship and group membership, such as family, classmates, or teams. Harmony, cooperation, and loyalty are strongly valued, and maintaining good relationship is usually more important than expressing personal opinion. Because of this cultural background, I naturally feel more comfortable when decisions are made collectively rather than individually. How about the adaptation to group dynamics? When working in a group, I usually adapt myself to the group dynamics by taking on a follower role. I tend to listen carefully to the leader and follow the decisions, even when I have my own ideas or different opinions. This is not because I do not have thoughts, but because I prioritize group harmony and prefer to avoid disrupting the group flow. In group discussion, I often place group goals above my personal preferences, and I seek a sense of belonging within the team. As a result, I am more comfortable working in structured groups, where roles are clear and cooperation is emphasized. Now, what is the influence of collectivism on my personality and emotion? My collectivist background has also influenced my personality and the way I express emotion. In group settings, I am generally less emotionally expressive and more reserved. I tend to avoid conflict and try to maintain harmony among group members, even if it means holding back my true feelings. Sometimes I may choose silence instead of confrontation because I do not want to create tension within the group. While this helps maintain peaceful relationship, it may also limit my emotional confidence as I have fewer opportunities to openly express and practice managing my emotion.
Feedback is essential for improvement in group work. It helps build trust and cooperation among members. However, there is also a risk that feedback may overlook individual accountability. From the perspective of organizational members, their role is to carry out all decisions made by the leader. They are expected to provide complete loyalty. With an external locus of control, they act only when the leader demands and in the way demanded. Conflict is inevitable in group dynamics. The way it is managed depends on cultural norms. Personally, I tend to avoid open confrontation and instead prioritize compromise or mediation. The mutual influence of collectivism, high power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and a polychronic understanding of time creates a unique situation. In this context, time availability is not perceived as a relevant determinant of entrepreneurial behavior among managers and employees.
Next, I'll continue to talk about how cultural background affects my experience of working in a group, focusing on the concept of power distance. Power distance refers to the degree to which individuals accept and expect an equal distribution of power within groups and organizations. In high power distance cultures, group members usually respect hierarchy and obey leaders without questioning their decisions. Loyalty and obedience are valued. In contrast, members from low power distance culture expect fairness and equal treatment. They are more comfortable sharing opinions, questioning decisions, and participating in discussions. These differences strongly influence how people behave in group work. In Malaysia, which usually has a high power distance culture, I tend to wait for the leader to assign tasks before taking action. I always follow the leader's instruction carefully and focus only on what is assigned to me. I believe this helps maintain group harmony and efficiency because decisions are made quickly and everyone works toward the same goal without conflict. This cultural background has both positive and negative effects. On the positive side, it reduces conflict and helps the group work smoothly because everyone follows the leaders. However, the negative side is that I often feel uncomfortable sharing my ideas or questioning the leader, even when I think a decision might be wrong or there could be a better decision. This limits open communication and creativity in the group. Overall, my high-power distance cultural background strongly shapes how I experience group work. While it encourages efficiency, respect, and harmony, it also makes me less confident in voicing opinions. By being aware of this cultural influence, I can learn to balance respect for leadership with active participation, especially when working in multicultural or low-power distance teams. In addition, being aware of my high-power distance cultural background has helped me reflect on how I can improve my group work experience. While respecting the leadership is important, I have realized that effective teamwork also requires communications, idea sharing, and collaboration. When working in multicultural or low-power distance groups, members may expect active participation and open discussions from everyone. Therefore, I am learning to gradually express my opinion in a respectful way, such as asking questions or offering suggestions instead of directly challenging decisions. This awareness allows me to adapt my behavior depending on the group context. By balancing respect for authority with constructive participation, I can contribute more effectively to group discussion while still maintaining harmony and mutual respect within the team.
So, before looking into the questions, what is monoculture? Monoculture is defined as a situation in which a single dominant culture or perspective shapes the practices and results in academic and science. Monocultural research and development groups can produce problematic products for different minority groups, highlighting the impact of limited perspective on result.
Next, I will talk about whether working in a managing monocultural group is problem-free by looking at the 3 main points. The first point is monoculture is difficult to manage in the modern work environment. Today's environment is increasingly complex and diverse, and organizations require collaboration across different skills and also experience. Even monocultural teams may face limitation in creativity because members tend to think in similar ways. For example, a team made up for employees with the same background may struggle to generate new ideas when facing unfamiliar problems. In addition, the pandemic also introduced hybrid work and also flexible schedules. This shows that monocultures still need adaptation and also inclusive management to remain effective. Moving to the second point, cultural diversity have a strong impact on team performance. Study shows that culturally diverse teams often outperform homogeneous teams because they bring different perspectives. For example, a diverse project team may produce better solutions by combining different viewpoints and experience. At the same time, language barriers are not significantly linked to poor performance when teams are managed well. For instance, with clear communication rules and supportive leadership, teams are still work efficiently despite language barriers. This shows that effective leadership and communication are more important than having a purely monocultural team. For the third point, team identification and cooperation are important in monocultural work group. Monocultural teams often show strong cooperation because members share similar goals and values. For example, team members may trust each other more and work smoothly because they have similar work style. However, strong team identity can also lead to problems. For instance, the team may reject new ideas from outsiders or resist change because they are comfortable with existing practices. This shows that even though monocultural teams may appear cohesive, managers still to encourage openness and also learning.
Working in monocultural group can reduce effectiveness due to the lack of cultural awareness. People with similar background only come out with fewer perspectives, which make their hards to respond to cultural differences. They usually rely on traditional approach that limit their ability to adjust when facing new challenges. This causes less innovations and creative problem solving in a group where leads their decisions making become narrow and repetitive. Monocultural groups may seem to be effective, but they are actually not. Their performance drops when they are facing complex situations. For the second part, it will create structural, psychological, and development barriers. For the group that operating under a resistant framework, they will see diversity as a trait to develop norms. For structural barriers, it will lead to homosocial reproductions, where people with similar background get advantage. For the psychological barriers, it leads to groupthink and ivory tower attitudes which limit their critical thinking and diverse viewpoints. For the development barriers, it would lead to less cognitive, disciplinary, and cultural diversity. These barriers will cause inequality, reduce social mobility, and worker institution learning. Moving on the next, because of unequal and resistant to learning, people rely on interact beyond collaborations, even if they live in work side by side. They are interact into different jobs, income level, and social space based on their identity. This causes limit collaborations between different communities, which totally prevent further cross-cultural understanding. This causes them to heavily rely on stereotypes and express silent tensions. This further reduces innovations and problem-solving capacity, which will promote exclusion and inequality. So, for the last one, it will have limited perspective and increase biased decisions making. This is because practice focus mainly on dominant group, where important ideas are ignored. This will lead to incomplete finding and promote inequality. Cross-cultural comparisons shows that similar experiences actually differ, where monocultural views are hiding the key realistic. When majority groups dominate the research or policy, the outcome will become inaccurate and biased.
Next, we look at what can help a manager understand how to build group cohesion when working in a new and unfamiliar culture context. As a manager working in a place or country that is different from your own, the most important thing is to understand the local culture and the way your employees work. First, managers need to understand how employees communicate and show respect. In some cultures, employees are quiet in a meeting not because they have no ideas, but because they want harmony and respect for their superiors. If managers don't understand this, they can misinterpret employees' attitudes. Second, managers need to observe work practice before making any changes. This includes how meetings are conducted, who makes decisions, and how feedback is given. Some workplaces expect managers to give clear instructions, so a leadership style that is too loose may make employees feel uncomfortable. Third, managers need to adapt their leadership style to the local culture. By listening a lot, learning from local staff, and respecting existing ways of working, trust can be built. When employees feel understood and valued, teamwork will be stronger. Next, we adopt a hybrid culture approach in management. As a new manager, it is important not to force our own way of working. Instead, we should integrate our management style with the existing local culture. For example, if employees value harmony and show respect towards their leaders, we can still encourage them to share ideas, but in a way that feels comfortable and appropriate for them. At the same time, we need to adapt our communication and decision-making methods. If the culture does not support open debate, we should not push it. Instead, we can use small group discussions or ask for feedback in writing. This allows employees to express their opinions in a safer way, while ensuring that decisions can still be made effectively. Finally, this approach helps us build trust and cooperation within the team. When employees feel understood and respected, they are more likely to trust their manager. With trust in place, teamwork improves, cooperation becomes stronger, and the group becomes more cohesive and effective.
Hello everyone, my name is Badro. Imagine being sent to manage a team in a foreign country where the culture is completely different from your own. The biggest challenge you will face is technical, is human. How to unite a diverse group of the people into a single concession unit. This brings us to the core issue of the question 931. How can we understand how to build a good cohesion in a group in a new culture context? Today, I will present the answer of this question. These strategies are not just opinion, they are supported by academic research. The first strategy to address the emotional aspect through the reward system, while the second strategy addresses the connection aspect through the shared mental method. Let's start with the first answer, is to build trust through distributing justice. To build cohesion, employees must feel they are being treated fairly. However, the definition of fairness varies across the culture. Based on the tests I analyzed, I will focus on establishing a reward system that aligns with the local perception of distributing justice. This concept refers to the perceived fairness of how the reward and resources are allocated in the group. Why it is crucial? If they feel the reward system contract their culture, group cohesion is collapse. This approach is supported by Emerson and Pram in 2060 in their research that employs a criticism principle. It says benefits are local in culture. This means that as a new manager, I cannot replace the reward system from my home country. That would be a mistake. Instead, I must ensure the benefit design complies with the local government and tax law, while still aligned with the company global reward strategy. For example, if I am managing a team in collective culture like in Japan, I need to know that their prioritize equity or over individual differentiation. Therefore, a local talent plan might need to reward the group rather than individual. By active engaging employee and respecting this local norm, we can maximize the return of investment and more importantly, to build the trust necessary for a cohesion. Okay, let's move on to the next strategy. Is align the team mindset through combination and share their mental model. Money and reward are not enough. The team also need to understand what to do. Manage must be effective communicator to solve problem. Past research show that human team performance improves significantly when the members have a shared understanding of their tasks. In academic terms, this is called a shared mental model, or we call it SMM. What is an SMM? It means the entire team is on the same page. Everyone knows what their tasks are and what goal they are trying to achieve. According to the research by Wender, Weston and Hill in 2016, they found that when team developed a shared understanding, performance improved drastically, especially in independent tasks where members rely on each other. So, as a manager in a new environment, what must I do? The answer is you need to, especially commercial goal, I must communicate intent clearly. I cannot be vague by doing this and ensure that all members, regardless of their culture background, are alike. When a shared mental model exists, it's reduced cohesion, and when cohesion is reduced, the managing the team becomes easier, more effective, and the group becomes stronger. In the conclusion, to answer this question of how to build good cohesion in a new culture content, I propose a dual approach. First, address their need and emotion by design a reward system that is local in nature and perceived as fair as suggested by Emerson and Pram. Second, address their focus and mindset by communication to build a shared mental model as proven by Benderson versus Enhance. When employees feel treated by justice and understand the goal clearly through cohesion is achieved. To conclude my presentation, that's all from me. Thank you.